Hi, welcome back to Learning Curves. I'm Anastasia, and today I want to share with you the story of the birth of my daughter Felicity, my second baby. In fact, when I'm posting this tomorrow, Sunday, is her in and out day, which is a thing that I learned about somewhat recently. So I was pregnant with her for 41 weeks and 6 days, and tomorrow she'll be 41 weeks and 6 days old. Actually, she turned 9 months yesterday, and she cut her first tooth, which I know is like later than most babies get their tooth, but also it's like now my baby has teeth and my poor nipples. If you have not yet watched my first birth story video, I encourage you to check that out, but only if you're okay with TMI. I was told for someone they had to watch it in bits because it was TMI for her. Why was it so hard for me? A couple disclaimers, much like my first video. If you have had a traumatic birth experience and you think that hearing about a positive birth experience might be triggering for you or upsetting, please don't watch this video. You don't need to be put through that. You've been through enough. If anything you hear in this video sounds exciting and something you might be interested in, please look it up. Comment below. I'm happy to help you find resources for doulas or midwives or anything. Let's talk about birth. Oh my gosh, let's talk about But if there are things in this video that upset you, and not just in a birth is a big thing way, then make different choices for you. Yeah. So this baby, pretty much the entire pregnancy, had been sunny side up. I had been feeling a lot of punches and kicks in the front, so she was facing my belly button. You want baby to be head down, of course, we all know that, and facing the back. That is the direction that's easiest for their head to get through your pelvis, well, to start engaging into your pelvis to make its way through to birth the most efficiently. So we did some things to try and move her around. We did the spinning babies and the Miles circuit. Both spinning babies and the Miles circuit are a set of 3 positions, movements that you do that help to kind of eventually get baby in the correct position, and they can also help get labor going if the reason labor hadn't been going is because baby wasn't in the best position. I had been going on 30-minute walks pretty consistently throughout the pregnancy, and I tried to continue that right up until the end. I remember at the end of my first pregnancy, I felt really strong before labor. In the second pregnancy, I didn't. I was pre-diabetic for gestational diabetes. My diet was all off. I just didn't feel great. And so I had been doing a lot of things, seeing a chiropractor, a lot of things to get my body ready. And I had felt the practice contractions sort of picking up in regularity. And there was one night where I felt like they were coming pretty consistently. I felt like they were happening every 5 to 7 minutes, maybe for about an hour. Then they sort of went away. When I talked to my midwife about that, she said, if that happens again, I want you to get up and go for a walk. If they keep going, great. If they don't, go back to bed. Around 2 o'clock in the morning, Monday morning, I think that my water breaks. I was super certain in my first delivery, I knew my water had broken. This time it was more of that, like they say, am I peeing myself? It feels kind of like I'm peeing myself. But I also knew that that's a hallmark of your water breaking. I get up, I go to the bathroom, I change my underwear and pants, I put a pad on, and I go back to sleep. So that is Monday morning. My midwife doesn't work on Mondays. So I knew I was going to contact her partner. I let her know I think my water's broken. She asked for a picture of the pad so she could see the color of the amniotic fluid. I sent it to her. She called me. She said, I'm not concerned about that color. She said, frankly, I'd be surprised if there wasn't some meconium staining in the amniotic fluid. So she said she was gonna come by that morning before she went to work, and this is the beauty of home birth. I don't have to do anything. I don't have to go in anybody's office. She said she was gonna come in that morning to my house just to listen to baby, kind of check out, see how things are. She came over, baby sounded good, movement was good, no concerns. She said, I could check you if you want it. Okay, I'm not a care provider. I'm a fangirl of birth. Fact check me, please. Again, I am not certified in any kind of anything, well, except for I got a bachelor's in theater. That doesn't count. Do your own research. I'm just sharing the information that I understand. Let's keep going. You know, a lot of women who have planned hospital births are encouraged to go to the hospital once their water's broken. OBs will talk about concerns of infection. Well, OBs also are likely going to be checking you, meaning they're going to be putting their hands inside your cervix. And when your water breaks, the amniotic sac is then broken. So baby doesn't have that protector around her anymore. So if someone's putting their hands, even a gloved hand, inside, there's just more of a risk of introducing foreign elements to baby. So the midwife said, I can check you. I'd rather not. I was totally okay with that. So she said, okay, keep me posted. I'll come back and check you out on my way home from work for the day. We walked around, we did the mile circuit. I had contractions here and there, and some of them even felt intense. Some of them I sort of had to breathe through, but it didn't feel like active labor. And I just wondered if I was going to have more of a crescendo, an even crescendo to delivery as opposed to my first birth, which was nothing, all of a sudden, active labor. We decided to go for a walk that evening around the block, and it was a long walk. It took a long time. I kept having to stop. And I should have known I was in active labor at that point since I needed to stop, but I just was like, when is this gonna get going? I don't pick up on subtlety well, guys, okay? But it's not like, again, it wasn't even, it was. So we came home. I think I laid down on the couch and I had a contraction that I didn't like. And I stood up and I was leaning on the fireplace, and I vividly remember having a contraction and thinking, oh, I don't want to do this. And then immediately said, husband, call the doula. Once I had that feeling of I don't want to do this, I knew it was game time and I knew we needed our doula here. We called the doula. I want to say she got here around 7. Our midwife got there shortly after that. That was about around the time she was already going to come to check on me. So she just came in and started moving all of her equipment inside. My husband and the midwife set up the tub. I labored in the hallway. I labored in our bedroom for a while. I remember being really frustrated that my husband was like doing stuff. He maintains, I had to set up. I was with you once everything was set up. But I think it's, you know how men want to do something? Like they get really frustrated that they can't help or do something. I think he felt better having something to do, which he didn't have as an option in the hospital. He just had to be there with me. So that was the one con to the whole home birth process. Moving on, I walked around for an hour or two, I guess, and I remember I wanted to get in the tub. I was wanting to get in the tub. And maybe 20 minutes after I've been in the tub, I remember saying I feel like I could start pushing. Which I don't know why I feel weird about pushing every time. It feels like I'm not supposed to do that. I'm not supposed to do it. Just listen to your body. My husband told me later that he was like, yeah, right, I'm pushing. Because mind you, 5 o'clock, we were walking around the neighborhood. And this is now 8:20, 8:30. That I'm like, I think I'm gonna start pushing. And the midwife was like, sure, start pushing. So another contraction or two, I don't know, I started pushing and I could feel she was low. I felt more in tune with my body. I could feel her moving down and I could feel that my pushes were productive, not necessarily in my body. I just knew. I don't know if it was my brain that knew or my body that knew. I just knew. I knew that these pushes were productive. I knew things were really moving. I knew we were getting close. And I didn't have a hand inside of me this entire pregnancy, except for at that moment then, the midwife reached in to feel, and she's like, oh yeah, there's her head. I feel her right there. And my husband's like walking around the tub to look. He didn't believe, but also you can't see from that angle. I was kind of like leaned forward, but like you couldn't see. Anyway, he didn't believe that this baby was coming out this fast. So as I was pushing, I think I had the same issue with pushing at the end that I did with my first delivery, which is where you're kind of between a rock and a hard place. I wanted labor to be over, and I knew that just pushing was going to make labor be over. But I also knew that that was going to increase my likelihood of tearing. And so the midwife was kind of holding her hand on my perineum. That can kind of help mitigate tearing. So she was like, you can hold your hand there to help the tearing. And for some reason, putting my hand on any of my undercarriage felt upsetting. Kind of like your body also, well, most bodies, I think my body feels that way postpartum. I just feel like puffy for like a month after delivery. And I kind of felt that way already now at this part of the birth process. I just didn't want to touch anything. I did end up at one point touching my daughter's head, like as she was crowning. That's so cool, you guys. Anyway, I pushed for 20 minutes in the tub. She was born in the water, and I reached down and I picked her up, and I immediately said, get Isabel, get Isabel, get Isabel. She was in the other room, and I wanted her. We had watched a couple birth videos with her, and like birth videos. She watched her own birth video. We kind of like leveled up to that because her birth video is lots more. But we leveled up to her seeing birth and all of its bodily fluid glory, and she was interested. She liked it. She had asked to watch the baby videos, so I wanted her to be there, and we all just were there for a while. I was in the tub for a little while. My placenta kind of took its time detaching, so they gave me a shot of something, some kind of herb, something, I don't remember, that kind of helped it along. I didn't need any Pitocin after delivery. I didn't need any stitches. Had a minor tear, but you know, worth it to get labor over with. Oh, I didn't even say this part. So there are 2 midwives at every birth. In case something happens, there's one to take care of mama and one to take care of baby. The second midwife usually shows up right around delivery time. She got there just after. It happened so fast. So labor that's shorter than 4 hours is called precipitous labor. And that's what I had. And a lot of people think, my husband specifically, prior to this delivery, thought, yeah, why wouldn't you want a precipitous labor? Short, great, less labor. The problem is baby still has the same distance to go. So it may be a shorter amount of time, but you're cramming this much labor into this amount of time. So it's intense. We've been arguing about how many kids we're going to have. When we were dating, he said 2 to 3 and I said 3 to 4. So I figured, okay, 3, there's the overlap. Perfect. And this was our second baby. And he was like, we're done after this. We're done after this. And I was like, excuse you? So anyway, when labor was really intense, I said to him between contractions, I was like, if you want me to sign something saying we're done having kids after this, get it to me right now. And he didn't. So he missed his opportunity. And now the argument goes on. So afterwards, they brought the placenta over. They need to check the placenta to make sure that it's complete. None of it's retained inside of my body. I thought that was cool, getting to kind of check it. And they clean everything up. They clean everything. They made me a meal. Like, they brought me food. They brought me a hot meal. They just went into the kitchen. They're like, anything in particular you want? They made me grilled cheese. I wanted grilled cheese so bad. They brought me grilled cheese and soup and started the laundry, emptied the tub, took it all out. They clean everything up, and I just get to sit there with my baby. They make sure we establish breastfeeding. They weighed baby. You know, all of those pieces still happen, but I'm in my bed. I went to sleep in my bed with my family. So yes, in the end, we got to have our home birth. It was, there aren't words for using this thing I've been carrying around for 30 plus years to understand what it actually does, what it can actually do. I should have mentioned this in my first birth video. I just remember about 2 weeks postpartum being like, I can't believe I used to get upset at my body about, oh, this little thing here, or this little thing here. Like, this masterpiece, this magical vessel that grows and brings forth the coolest people who have ever existed. You know, my daughters just had like a growling contest the other day. I want every woman to feel as empowered about bringing their babies into the world as I did. And I think a whole hell of a lot more of them can than did. And it doesn't mean you have to have a home birth in order to feel that way. I had a hospital birth for my first baby. I think full stop after I say it. I think that a doula can absolutely make that happen, even in a planned cesarean birth. Full stop. Bringing a baby forth into the world, including when someone surgically removes that baby from your body. You birthed your baby, and it's incredible, and we're badasses. That's it. Thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, please like this video, and please consider subscribing. Also, put in the comments that you think that we should have another kid. Just not if, just say it. I'll see you next week. Bye.